There are places in this world that don't belong to us. Places where the trees don't just grow, they watch. Where the silence isn't empty, it's listening. The Appalachian Mountains are one of those places. People disappear without a trace. Shadows move when there's no one there to cast them. And sometimes, something follows you home, even when you swear you were alone. Some say it's just the wind. Others know better, because those who've seen what lurks in those hills don't come back the same, if they come back at all. If you ever find yourself alone in the Appalachian Mountains, be careful where you step, because once you cross the wrong threshold, you may never find your way back. The Appalachian region stretches across eastern United States, covering over 1,000 miles of rugged terrain. But beneath its breathtaking beauty lies a darkness few dare to speak of. Strange disappearances, ancient legends, and encounters that defy explanation. Tonight, we're looking into some of the most unsettling tales that come from these mountains. Stories of those who walked too far off the path and never truly came back. Our first story, the Nightfall Trail. In the fall of 2011, Henry Whittaker, an experienced backpacker, set off on a solo trip into the mountains of West Virginia. He was familiar with the area, confident in his skills, but what he didn't know was the path he took wasn't on any map. He first noticed something was wrong as the sun dipped below the trees. The sounds of the forest, the chirping birds, the rustling leaves had gone silent. Then came the feeling like he was being watched. He shook it off and pressed forward. But that's when he saw it. A wooden sign, old and weathered, nailed to a tree. It read, "Nightfall Trail. No entry after dark." Henry hesitated. He didn't remember seeing it on any of his maps, but the trail looked clear, well trodden, and he figured it might be a shortcut back to camp, so he took it. That was his first mistake. The deeper he went, the stranger the woods became. The trees grew taller and twisted, their branches clawing at the sky, like the earth was thinner here, softer, like something was shifting just beneath the surface. Then the smell hit him, rotten, damp, like something long dead. Henry turned, expecting to see a deer. Instead, he saw himself. Standing just a few feet away was a figure. Same height, same clothes, but the face. The eyes were strange. The mouth was slightly open as if trying to mimic an expression it didn't understand. And then it just smiled at him. Henry didn't hesitate. He ran. The thing followed behind him, its footsteps matching his own. Every turn he took, every stumble, it mirrored him perfectly. And then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. Henry burst out of the trees and onto a familiar trail, the one he was originally on. He spun around, but the Nightfall Trail was gone. No path, no sign, just an unbroken wall of trees. He never found that trail again, and he never hiked alone after dark either. Our second story, the Vanishing Hunter. Hunters know these woods better than most, but sometimes even the most experienced ones go missing. That's exactly what happened to James Carter in 1998. Carter was a seasoned hunter, had been coming to the same part of the Appalachians for over a decade. He knew the trails, the game, and all the old hunting stories passed down from locals. But there was one story he laughed at, one about the Hollow Man. Locals claimed that deep in the mountains, there was something that took the shape of a man. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't an animal. It was something older, something that wore the face of those it took. But Carter, he didn't believe in campfire stories. Until one evening when he was out tracking a deer. He had been following the buck for hours, deeper into the woods than he had planned. The sun had already set, but he wasn't worried. He had his rifle, and he had his instincts. Then he saw it, Not the deer. Something else. Someone else. It stood just ahead in the clearing, barely visible in the fading light. A man, wearing hunting gear. But strange. The stance was rigid, his head tilted slightly as if it was listening to him. Carter called out, but there was no response. He took a step forward. The figure took a step forward too. At the exact same time, he raised his rifle. The figure did too, but Carter hadn't seen him holding a rifle before. Then it spoke, not with words, but with his voice, perfectly, repeating the last thing he had said. Carter turned and ran. He didn't stop until he made it back to camp. When he told the others what had happened, they immediately packed up and left before first light. No one ever saw Carter in those woods again, because he never went back. Some places aren't meant to be disturbed. And in Appalachia, you just don't know what you'll find. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Urban Legend Hunter. Until we meet again.